Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 53. It's a podcast where we talk about pop culture things that interest us. My name is John, and I'm joined, as always, by Andrea. How are you doing this fine Wednesday evening?
I'm doing well. I'm certainly doing better than the weather we had today, which
That's been fun,
ranged.
huh?
Yeah, it's a little bipolar for Minnesota. Um, we ranged from sunny to stormy to haily. That's not a word, but I'm making it one. And back again. So yeah, kind of a
Perfect.
weird day.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad the hail wasn't like big hail, you know.
Agreed. We
At
are.
least out here was pretty pea size.
Yeah, it was about the same here. We are currently having to store our cars outside because we're having things in our garage. So yeah, so I'm very glad indeed that the hail wasn't too terrible. Also, today was rather busy for me. I drove out to St. Paul to host a coworker's wedding shower.
Okay.
Yeah, so we did like a drive-by. Yeah, and I mean, of course, we chose today, which was like the weirdest day out of the entire week.
Right.
You know, every other day has been beautiful and sunny and warm. So yeah, so I went out there and like put up a tent in her like front yard that she could huddle under, and you know, we had like little snack station and gift drop off, and people drove by, and it was really good. It worked out really well. But yeah, apparently when we decided to set up the shower, Minnesota took us quite literally and decided to like shower down.
You wanted a shower, eh? Here's a shower for you.
Right. Hold my beer. I got this. So that was really fun. But of course, like really hectic to like plan around this crazy weather. And I came back home and then just kind of like threw some, you know, through all the accoutrement and like shower stuff around my house, which is very funny because I just noticed that I threw it down next to the remnants of my baby shower stuff. So our house, like, there's currently a corner. Yeah, there's currently a corner of our house that's like wedding shower / baby shower. So it looks like, you know, somebody's like shotgun wedding or something. It's very like wedding, baby, like make up your mind. What are you going to do? All the life events. So, yeah.
I mean, we know you got pregnant and then got married right away.
That's right. That's really what this baby's about. Never mind that I've been married for 7 years.
Yeah. Oh man, does it feel like 7 years?
No, it does not.
Okay.
Yeah. Even saying that out loud, I was like, is it 7? 7? But it will be.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty awesome. Well, that's what they say. I mean, 7-year itch, right? So we're gonna make it.
Yeah. Well, we better now. Now I've really got something. I've really got something tying him down through 7. Yeah. No escape.
Well, I have to say, you're a credit to all ladies out there with how much you're running around yet. Just like seems like you're going all over the place and you're busy and up and about and all that stuff.
That's right. From running around planning showers to what I was telling you earlier, laying down cement in our basement. You know, apparently even 9 months pregnant, I cannot be stopped.
You'll be able to use that against your child. You know, it'd be like they don't want to do something. Like when I was 9 months pregnant with you, I was laying cement in the basement.
Why do I have a Southern accent tonight, John?
I don't know. I mean, it's right. It should be the Sasha, I suppose, if I could do it, Andrea.
That's right.
It should be Sasha. Yeah, but
that's right. I lay cement in basement.
Yeah. Yep. Back home in my home countries, how we begin the labor.
That's right. You don't know how good you have it.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, yeah, exciting times.
Indeed.
But like you say, good weather other than today. So.
Indeed. Yep. Have you been doing anything with your good fortune? Have you been outside or?
Not as much as I should, I suppose. It's quite with all the construction we did last summer, it's very muddy. Like we have grass that's going to be coming or whatever, but it's not, wait till spring, see what happens.
Sure.
So yeah, it's pretty muddy out, but a little bit sit on the deck some. So yeah.
Nice.
Got it. Cement, yeah. How's it going, Mike? Mike's in the chat.
Hey, Mike.
Popping in. Yeah, so I otherwise most of my activities, I guess, have been inside, wasting time, I suppose. I had mentioned other weeks that I was taking a bit of a breather from D&D, just getting too absorbed in it. Well, now I'm probably too absorbed in a video game.
Which
Valheim.
one? Okay.
Valheim. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I forgot to bring it up last week as something I was playing. So I've been playing it for a couple weeks now here.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, I've spent a good share of time this week playing video games. So I was going to give everybody my rundown on a couple of those things.
Excellent.
So if you haven't picked up Valheim yet, it's in early access on Steam. It's an open world survival game. I played a number of those now with producer Alan here and some friends. And this one is kind of Viking themed. I took some basic screenshots. There's got to be a way, I haven't looked it up, how to remove the UI, but anyways, they do a really good job with this game. Of the different ones I've played, like Ark or 7 Days to Die, The Forest, this one is kind of fixes a lot of the issues that the other ones have.
Okay.
They make building less painful. Combat feels really nice, kind of weighty and responsive. The way that you your progression works for leveling up is simple. And it's a very, very big map. You kind of keep discovering new things. So music is nice. It just hits the right balance for a survival game of being fun, but demanding and risky as well.
Sure.
So it's in early access, but it generally doesn't feel like it. I do get my cons, I guess, I do get some bugs, some hiccups sometimes. I don't know if that's server side on their part or on ours, or I can't necessarily blame it on the game, but it's been happening, whatever. And then I don't know if I love always the visual style. Like you can see from the pictures, there's a lot of it's not fancy, but it is an artistic beauty to it or whatever. Just sometimes the character models are a little rough. It's a style, but I suppose it's allowed to accommodate a variety of PC hardware then that way. So
for sure.
Yeah. I'm playing a lot of that. It's great as a social game. It's only $20 being its early access. So
not bad.
That's been a lot of fun. Mike's talking about your new location. Yeah, she is in a new location because of all their construction.
Construction and cement.
Yep. She'll be back to the other location as soon as the house is in order.
Indeed, yes. Hopefully, in addition to being back in my old location, I will not be as pale as I recognize I appear. I practically glow off the computer screen.
Yeah, that's your pregnancy glow.
Oh, thanks, John. Nice save. Yeah. Nice save. Yes, and I also won't be so close up anymore either. This is just a temporary fix.
Mike, our observant viewer.
Indeed.
I also managed to secure myself a PlayStation 5 this week. I wasn't sure if I was going to keep it.
Really?
Ash is like, just keep it, whatever. So now we can play any game we want, whatever. But
I was going to say, for how long it took you to get it, you should at least keep it a little while and think about it.
Well,
because if you change your mind back, who knows? It could be years.
It was one of those foolish things where there was definitely a desire to have the box because I couldn't have the box.
Sure.
So, and then it's like, yes, I got one. All right, now what? All right, succeeded, but So yeah, I will give a shout out to Jake Randall. You can find him on Twitter and on YouTube and stuff. He does a really good job of laying down tips and tricks for how to secure yourself a new gen console. So very helpful. He's a pretty inspiring guy, actually. So recommend checking him out.
Excellent. So you have one now. What are you playing on it?
Yeah. So it's the game that comes with is Astro's Playroom, and it's designed as a demo for the new controller. And I will say that the new controller is the best thing about the system, because the system is pretty big. I'm not sure if I love the look of it or whatever. The game crashed on me within the first 5 or so minutes of playing.
Oh no.
And there's some issues like missing an app or two that I would like or whatever.
Okay.
No folders in the user interface, but it's a quick system. It's snappy. It's I think that the sounds and layout and everything are pretty eloquently done. So, but Astro's Playroom is a very good game. Astro's Playroom is to show off the tech behind the controller, but it really is a great ode to PlayStation history.
Sure.
You go through different stages that are a part of each generation, so PS1 through 4, and then a big boss battle. And the controls are perfect. It's super, super cute. The music is a lot of fun. There's all kinds of, again, nods to PlayStation games in there. You can see them all over the place. They're reenacting different things. It's just really, really well done. So it's great that it comes with this free game to show off the controller, and that's just a blast to play actually too. So I think I'm almost done with it. I just have the boss battles left. So
do you have something lined up to play then after?
No.
Okay.
I mean, so if I decide, I might go Ghost of Tsushima, but the reason that I was considering returning it initially is because of that fact. There's not really anything that I need to play for the foreseeable future. Supposedly Horizon Zero Dawn sequel and some God of War game are coming out this year, but we really don't know if that's true or if that's going to be delayed. So those are the ones I really care about. Otherwise, I have so much to play on Game Pass yet. So
sure.
But yeah, I guess if there's something next, if I jump into something next, to be Ghost of Tsushima. Just to get the good fidelity out of that. So that's that. And then in tandem with a bit of news later, I'll bring up why I decided to finish this game. But I had started the game Prey from, I think, 2017 this fall. And I wanted to give a little review of it because I've been playing some great games recently and haven't done a good job of reviewing them. I was not prepared in the least for my Control review, which I played a little bit more of today. But But yeah, Prey by Arcane Studios. I finished that yesterday. It is a game I think you would really like. At least content style wise, it is great. It's very much the original Alien movie in terms of vibe, and the story is similar too. You really are on a spaceship needing to survive against aliens. The music is stellar. It's Mick Gordon that does Doom and stuff. He's doing the music. It's great. Controls are tight. Voice acting is great. There's a lot of you can really tackle the game how you want. So it's called Prey because you're the prey, you're the one being hunted. And so you're designed to be underpowered, but you get different abilities, and so you kind of have to make that choice on how much you're going to fight, how much you're going to sneak, how much you're
Yeah.
going to try to like go above or below, and they really do give you options, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they give you this glue gun, GLOO gun, that
Okay.
basically makes these like poof up balls that you stick to surfaces, and you can
Mm-hmm.
slow down creatures with it, or you can make pathways with it or whatever, and that opens up
Okay.
possibilities. Um, let's see. It's also a game with a story that has seemingly pretty meaningful choices, and they don't handhold in their storytelling. Like you kind of have to figure out what you can as you go along,
Okay.
by talking to other people, reading through the emails you find at different computer stations and stuff like that, to know, because you have moral choices here and you're not sure what to believe or what choices to make.
Mm-hmm.
And so as the twists and turns keep coming, you might change your mind as you go along. And I have to say, I was surprised at the ending. So they managed to shock me there. Wasn't predictable, in that kind of way. So
Nice.
yeah, I think it's a really underappreciated game. I think that it's a game that by all rights should have sold way more copies and garnered way more attention than it did. And they
Sure.
released some DLC for it as well. I really only have like a couple of complaints. It can be a little confusing. Maybe this is just me in video games, but it can be a little confusing where to go at times. And there are some long loading screens between areas that I'm
Okay.
sure if this game came out on the new systems now wouldn't be necessary. So,
Sure.
but yeah,
I wonder if the fact that like you were describing this game and your play style, you're designed to be the prey. I wonder if that has any effect on, the game underperforming. Because it feels like so
it,
many of like the really big popular games, like you're not you're not like the dominant predator in a certain situation, but it's usually like you hunting something else, or you questing to find something else or achieve an objective, and the idea of running away isn't that attractive,
sure.
you know?
I mean, yeah, I'll talk a little bit about this maybe too as we get to it in the news. But I mean, I can see that. I would say that something like Silent Hill, it certainly has a
Mhm.
claim, considering that you're designed to be underpowered. You
Right.
run around with just a flashlight. But that is the difference between like a game like Prey that is acclaimed.
Mhm.
Um, Gamers know about it, I guess. People are involved, but it just doesn't sell the numbers. And I don't know what something like Silent Hill sells.
Right.
Obviously, if you compare anything to Call of Duty or something or FIFA, then it's
Right.
not going to do well. But
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, like if you're thinking of just like mainstream, and
yep,
in terms of, like what somebody off the street might think like, "Oh, yeah, I could play that video game," or "Oh, I'd enjoy that," or, somebody not like in the gaming community necessarily, or, maybe just like dipping their toe into
yep.
gaming. I just feel like that's probably part of it.
I can see it being like starting to knock out slivers of a market because
Yeah.
one, it's scary, so not everybody's going to be in on that. Two, right, you're not the like all powerful thing.
Mhm.
So in terms of running scared and potentially being underpowered, maybe
Mhm.
that's not appealing. And then it was, to some people that are in the games community, it might have been confusing for them because Prey was a different game originally. If you look up Prey, there's
Yes.
an older one. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so this is when the IP was coming back, there was confusion at first. Like,
Right.
what is this? This seems very different, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, yeah. I
Yeah.
won't spoil anything, but man, if you have PlayStation Now, go and play it. It's on there. It's available on everything pretty much. So except for
Sweet.
Switch. Yeah. So I think scale of 5 is better probably than 10 because 10 gets so granular, and I feel like it's difficult to give anything an actual 10, but you can give something a 5 because more generalized. So
Sure.
this is a 5 out of 5 game for me.
Wow.
So just the minute you load up the screen, if you're into like that I need to survive from aliens on a spaceship thing, you just the tone just sucks you in. And the opening screen, like immediately you're like, maybe things aren't going to be the way they seem. Like it's just it will hook you.
Sure. All right.
So
That's bold. I like it. Rolling
Yeah.
off the bat with our first new test of the rating system, and you're going 5 out of 5.
I know, right?
Man, what
I've
else are we gonna do to top that?
Yeah. Well, I would probably give Control a 5 out of 5 too. I just, like I say, I
Yeah,
botched
I
that
mean-
review so much. So
Yeah, I mean, I remember you gave it like a 9 out of 10, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
be, I wouldn't be shocked at a 5 out of 5.
Yep. Looks like you did some like fun media related things this week too, though, besides just construction and party hop things.
Well, there's only so much cement that you can lay, and then you have to wait for it to dry. So, there were a few moments where I had to take a break and just take a little bit of rest and engage my brain in other ways other than physical labor. So
Sure.
I finished the manga that you guys gave me, Help I Don't Know How to Give Birth, which, appropriate since, we're under the
time here.
Yeah, we're under the 2-week mark now. So, time's
Okay.
ticking away. And it was fun. It was good. It like I've said before, it was informative without getting too granular or too detailed or too specific to this author's experience. Because, something like birth can be wildly different from woman to woman.
Yeah.
So, there's a level of like, you can relate here, but then, when you get into specifics, sometimes you can't. So I thought she did a good job of conveying, real life possibilities and experiences without making it so specific that, you didn't feel like you could relate to it.
Would you recommend this to someone that is not pregnant to read? Or is it like this is a great companion for if you're pregnant?
I would definitely give it to somebody who is or is thinking about being pregnant. I would also say that I would give it to somebody who doesn't necessarily hasn't necessarily like made a choice about kids, because this author's experiences were so kind of all over the place emotionally. She wasn't sure if she wanted kids. Then she made the decision and she was like, I'm going to stick to it, but I don't really know why I'm doing this. And, I still have questions. And then she was, going through that whole phase of, the manga continued on after she'd given birth. And, talked about like some of her first days and weeks as a mom. And she still sort of felt like lost and confused and, gradually kind of picked up routines and things like that. So I would give it to somebody probably in all stages of pregnancy. I probably wouldn't give it to somebody as like, oh, hey, check this out. If pregnancy wasn't on their radar at all.
Sure.
Okay. But I think about the first half of the book, even if, you weren't thinking about it, you could relate to it. And then kind of the back half of the book, when you get into like the specifics and get into after, that's probably where you'd lose somebody who wasn't thinking about, having kids. So, but yeah, it's fun. And she's got like these cute little interjections from her husband, who's also like a manga artist. And he has his own like little side comics with his point of view. And it's pretty cute. Sometimes they're like supplementary and sometimes they're just like totally out of left field. He's like, she was going through this, but I didn't really know. So here's what I was thinking about, which was, X, Y, and Z, and this was totally different. So it's fun little like back and forth. And
Sure.
I think it's something like I've finished several pregnancy books and I have given them to Chris, and I would give this to Chris.
Okay.
Like he
Nice.
could read it too, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so I went through that, and then I also am a little more than halfway through One Punch Man, which
Okay.
is definitely getting better and better with every episode. I really enjoy it. It was kind of episodic at first, kind of self-contained within each episode, and now it's like getting into like a little bit of more of a story arc.
Okay.
Even though I know it's only 12 episodes, so we're not going to go like super deep. It's kind of fun to have those little like multi-episode arcs.
There's a season 2 though.
There is. I can't remember if it's available on Netflix or not, or if only season 1 is available.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't
But
looked quite a while.
yeah,
Probably on Crunchyroll or something.
yeah, for sure. But it's good. It's really fun, and it's a good anime that doesn't take itself too seriously.
Right. Yep. Awesome. Yeah, we're still need to like catch up on Promised Neverland,
Yeah.
and we've still been slowly working our way through Bleach. So
Oh, sure. Well,
rewatch of Bleach.
I was gonna say you could say that for weeks and weeks and months, and I would never be surprised at you being like, "Oh, we're still working our way through Bleach."
Yep. We'll let you know when we can get back to the good stuff. So.
Oh, Alan says One Punch Man is simulcast on Hulu. Oh, I'll have to check that out and see if I can find that on ours.
Yeah. Well, I see you drinking stuff right there. Great alcohol, I'm sure, but
that's right. No one knows what's in the bottle.
Yeah. But it looks like we missed over a day. We skipped March 5th.
Yeah. So for it being March and nearly St. Patrick's Day, kind of the holy grail of drinking days. There's not much else going on, probably just because everybody's looking forward to St. Patty's. But March 5th was Absinthe Day.
Okay.
And I know celebrate. I did not celebrate either, weirdly enough. But I know you've had absinthe, haven't you?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Same. It's a claim not everybody can make.
I think we got some at an anime convention once, didn't we? Were
we
you at
did.
That one? We walked a long ways. Okay, yeah. So that stuff I don't think was very good though. Like it's definitely not all created equal.
No, absinthe is quite particular. I feel like you can be drinking like the real thing, or you can be drinking like some green juice. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely like a wide range. Liquid. Exactly. There's definitely a wide range of what people I think like call absinthe, and it's definitely not always the quality like, because when you think of absinthe, I think what you think of is like the movie stuff, like light the sugar cube and pour the absinthe over that, and you're gonna drink it and it's gonna be so powerful and potent, and you see the green fairy, and real life absinthe does not always work that way, especially if you're not aware of what you're buying.
Yep. Hear that, kids? Drinking's no good. There is a day though, the day that we're recording this, a day of celebration. Yes. It's Mario Day, so happy Mario Day.
And to you.
10th. And I am indeed celebrating Mario Day.
Okay, actually, how are you celebrating?
With my drink. So I made a drink that I have dubbed the Princess Peach.
Ooh.
And I will hold it on camera.
Look at you, fancy pants. What do you got in there?
But okay, so basically this is, so the idea is, well, it's a martini, but then clearly the castle and Princess Peach and that sort of world is based on like a European castle and royalty environment. So I'm using gin, London dry gin in here, and vermouth. So that's kind of getting the official martini element and the European element all the way. Indeed. Then I have sake in here because we all know Nintendo is Japanese.
Indeed.
So we have sake. And then there is a pinch of grenadine to make it the glorious pink that Peach likes to wear in her dresses. And then just garnish with a strawberry. So.
All right. Yeah, it looks good.
Oh,
looks fancy.
The lemon juice too.
Okay.
Just pop in there. So.
Yeah, I always found it funny that Princess Peach and Princess Daisy were named the way they were, because if you were to like just throw up those two characters and guess on complexion and dress style who was Princess Peach, you would definitely think Daisy was it. Because she's got like a peach hued dress. She's got like the peach skin. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, sure. It's just so funny that like Princess Peach is like blonde and blue eyed and wears like a pink dress. And then Daisy, like, I don't know. Yeah, if you were just looking at her coloring, you would think like, oh, the color of a peach. That's her.
Well, I don't know the order. I mean, obviously Peach, I'm sure, came first.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, when did Daisy come around? You know,
right?
And I want to know what Daisy's business is. What does Daisy do? Where is she from? There's probably some story behind this, but all I know is she has crazy eyes, and Luigi deserves better. Okay, so if that's a thing there, I mean, I know maybe as just us, we just
naturally pair.
Yeah, right. Obviously, it doesn't work that way, so maybe that's not the case. But yeah. Oh, fun factoid for a Mario Day that's only relevant to people that know us. Ashley, we talk like the question is, and if we have any nerds out there that will watch this or whatever, the common discussion is who's your waifu? And so who's your video game waifu? And so Ashley's decision is Luigi. Luigi is a stand-up guy. He's taller than Mario. You know, he's Italian. Italians have a reputation, anyways. So he's gonna like his pasta and stuff like that for sure.
Sure.
And he's underappreciated, but he's nice. Like Mario's kind of a jerk to him sometimes. And Luigi's Mansion, Luigi asks always, he has to go and save the day then. And he's clearly scared of ghosts, but he does it anyways. So he's in there with ghosts. Ashley likes ghost hunting.
Okay, I see this.
Like, that's Ashley's like respectable, if I was going to have a video game pairing. Yeah.
Be Luigi.
Yeah.
Not bad. I definitely see that both for her and also cheer that, because I am definitely I like the underdog kind of person. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never usually super taken with a video game or a movie's like main character. I'm usually like the person who's
same way.
Yeah, I'm always looking at like the side character and thinking like, they're really interesting. I mean, obviously sometimes there's exceptions, but for the most part. So
no, I do that constantly. Always have.
There. Yeah.
Yep. So obviously, if he was just showed up like he, like you look at Smash Bros, you see all the characters next to each other. If Luigi showed up and he looked just like he does in the game, the art style, it would be creepy. But we're gonna assume a translation here to real person.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, in your imaginary game of picking a waifu, I'm pretty sure we can bend the rules, and that's possible.
Yeah. So anyways, happy Mario Day to everybody. Go ahead and play a Mario game, play Smash, something like that. Do a Nintendo thing. Or make yourself a Princess Peach cocktail.
Right. Or give us a like if Luigi is also your waifu.
Yeah. Right. Yep. that would make my day if someone was serious. Like, you
Yeah.
can't have him. He's mine. You know? So, well, in complete opposite ends of the tonality spectrum, we'll go
Yeah.
to Helsing. I guess I should be moving this later. We're like jumping categories here. We were just talking about anime.
Mm-hmm.
Then we jumped to video games. Well, back to anime now. Helsing is being adapted into a live action film
It
by
is.
the
Yes.
writer of John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we really know much else about this other than here we have it.
Yeah.
Anime movies are few and far between. Live action ones, at least in the West, they make plenty of live action adaptations in Japan,
Right.
but they usually don't turn out well, or they get stuck in, some sort of production hell.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. We'll see. Have you seen or read Helsing?
I haven't. No, actually. I was just reading through that. I mean, I had always known of it. I'd heard it like name dropped and knew the basic premise of it. And then it was just last week somebody threw out a question on Twitter about a battle between anime characters, and they were asking about Alucard versus somebody else. And somebody had to ask the clarifying question: are you talking about Alucard from Helsing, or are you talking about Alucard from Castlevania? And that was me like having my mind blown, being like, what? I did not know those were that somebody else did that. Somebody else had just turned around Dracula and made a character.
Yeah.
So apparently that's more common than I realized.
Yeah. I didn't get real far in the anime. I guess it was probably the voice acting. I think the options I had available to me was English. It's a little bit older, and so we didn't have the options there at the time for like the industry around voice acting for anime in English. So
yeah.
But I would give it another chance. I'm concerned about it as a live action film, as I am with all the adaptations. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see once they start releasing some images, some casting news, that kind of thing. Get a teaser trailer, then we'll start, being more or less worried. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think my general reaction would be that I think it's great that another, anime is getting brought to a larger audience in the terms of, like, this is the storyline, not necessarily obviously that the anime is coming, but it's kind of another avenue for people to see it and then get into anime by being like, oh, what's the source material for this? So if it's done well, it's a great way to introduce anime through another avenue.
Right. Well, in the name of exposure and bringing more people in, we jump back to video games now for a bit with Ghost of Tsushima again.
Yeah.
But we talked about this a while ago, where they had a storm in Tsushima, and they raised money, and a whole bunch of people that played the video game donated to the real life shrine there, and some of the top donators were going to get their names inscribed and stuff. But this now, some of the people, the developers behind the game, are being made permanent ambassadors of the actual Tsushima island. And I think it's just really cool, because they clearly are super excited that their largely unknown island that people are not paying attention to or whatever has received tourism and so much more attention and fanfare now, thanks to this game. And yeah, it's just a really cool story that it keeps getting cooler, I guess.
Yeah, it's a lot of feel good stories, that are coming out of this. Like you said, first with everybody kind of, rising up and meeting the challenge of getting donations to this island so that they could rebuild after that storm. Now these two developers are getting named ambassadors. of the island, and it's basically their title until they don't want it anymore. Um,
Yeah.
and uh, you know, they had said like, "Oh, we're not expecting anything out of this. We don't, expect them to like keep, developing games or doing
Right.
anything more with that. It's just like a way to be like, hey, thanks." And yeah, I think it's a really cool story, and you can see the developers like in some of the promo photos. They just look so jazzed about all of
Mhm.
this. You know what I mean? Like they're just like
Yep.
so excited, and it's kind of a cool thing both in terms of for the location for this island, but also for the developers. It's kind of like, hey, you did like a quality thing, you did your research, like you developed a quality game, like
Yep.
good things coming your way. So
Yep. Yeah, and good on Sony for letting them do this. They
hmm
had a popular series with Infamous before, and they
yeah,
just changed and did something else. And they've done this before or whatever, and they let them go. They let them do their research. And yeah, it's just a beloved game, kind of the world over for anyone that's into the culture.
yeah,
And yeah, it's really cool to see the recognition. So,
yes.
in a less serious video game, but also very exciting video game, I would say for me, uh, just came out today.
Yeah.
A new trailer for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge.
hmm
It's a
turtles
sequel.
turtles are serious business. Okay, this is like this is
Okay,
like
yeah.
the most major of my childhood. So serious
Okay.
business, John.
I mean, this is supposedly a sequel to the original arcade one
hmm
and being done by those behind Scott Pilgrim and Rage or Streets of Rage 4.
hmm
Both quality games. Have you played much for the Ninja Turtles? Like you watch Ninja Turtles, right? You eat pizza,
Absolutely.
okay. So, but the game?
Yes, yes. And actually, like that used to be one of my favorite like old arcade games, like back when arcades were a thing. I feel like I'm dating myself saying that, but it has to be said anyway. Yeah, TMNT, that was my go-to.
Yeah. Alan says Turtles in Time. That sounds right. But yeah, we didn't play it in the arcade as much.
hmm
We did play it on the original Nintendo. We had a
Sure.
Ninja Turtles game, and it's a good time. I mean, lots of repetition, and we didn't get very far
hmm
for we were kids, I guess, whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped. I want to know what it's going to be available on. I would think they just put it on everything, but Street Rage 4 is on everything.
Yeah.
So I would hope that they do the same here. But there's two
Yeah.
game trailers within the same amount of days where they didn't say where they were all going to be available at the end. So
Yeah, I mean, this trailer really didn't give a whole lot of detail about really anything. I mean, it was cool,
yeah,
it was well done, it was fun.
yeah,
I like that they kept it snappy.
yep,
But yeah, it was a real, I mean, teaser in the true sense of the word.
yeah.
You didn't really get anything other than it's coming.
They were selling the vibe that this is true to the original
hmm
cartoon and video game. That's the kind of thing. And here you
Yes.
have, like 16-bit, whatever, kind of for graphics. And yeah, that's I just want to know when now. When and what systems. So
Yes. Well, they've
yeah.
succeeded, I guess, if their intention was, piquing curiosity. Definitely
Yeah.
gonna be keeping my ear to the ground for news on that.
Yep. I didn't put in the list, but the other game I'm pumped for is it's like a spiritual successor to a couple games, Jet Set Radio Future and
Oh,
Jet Grind Radio.
okay.
So they were Dreamcast games, and then the second one came to the Xbox as well. And they're these very Japanese games where you're like on rollerblades and you're skating around the city and you spray paint and kind of battle against other gangs in like spraying your symbol and different stuff and areas. The music is really cool. It's just really like funky. It's all about funky. And so it's a lot of fun. And this new game now, it's called something of Cyberpunk. And it looks exactly like this game pretty much. It's the same kind of premise or whatever. So cell shading, you ask? It definitely looks like a similar art style. Yeah, that was a big deal with Jet Grind Radio when it first came out. It was one of the early cell shading games where it's like looks like a comic book or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, art style is similar for sure. But yeah, if I had the name of it for sure, I tell you, I didn't write it down. But yeah, excited for that. Last bit of gaming news that I wanted to tie back into, and the reason I played Prey and finished it,
sure,
is because the Microsoft purchase of ZeniMax Bethesda has officially gone through. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk. That's it. Alan got it. Yep. Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Nice.
Yep. So, but yeah, so this was announced last year, but it had to get clearance from the US and the European Union and stuff. And that has happened. So they announced with a little video and stuff or whatever that happening. You can see if you're watching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over, that's Prey.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it was a $7 billion deal. It's done now. And part of what I say with Prey being such an amazing game, but I don't think selling all that well. I think this is why we have the benefit here of this acquisition, because someone like Arcane Studios can make a game like Prey that's so amazing, and it doesn't have to sell it. You know, their studio's existence isn't hanging in the balance based upon how well that one game sells.
Right.
You know, and that if that game garners them critical acclaim, then that draws people into Game Pass. So, you know, if it succeeds in either like everybody playing it or in getting some more subscribers, then it's a success. So, so yeah, that was my bit of celebration for this going through and being official. So. Yeah,
I read you know, kind of the official message as the announcement was made. And they, you know, it was from Xbox, so you know it's kind of their point of view. But you know they were of course celebrating like all these wonderful games like coming to Game Pass and enhancing what they already feel is a great experience on Game Pass, which you know all seems true to me. But then you know they talked a little bit about how they still want Bethesda to make games the way they've been making them, and they don't want to you know get down and interfere in any way. They still want games to be available in some sense for other gamers. And I know that that's very like vague terminology and very vague promises about, you know, keeping access open. But you know, they didn't have to say that. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that I really do think when they say a case by case basis, it will be a case by case basis.
Exactly.
At this point now. Like I think that some games make sense for them. They're going to see it strategically to have everywhere, and some games they're going to want as that thing to draw you in.
Yep.
Like ultimately, their goal is to draw you into the Game Pass ecosystem in some form, and so you know. But maybe a game isn't a particular draw they evaluate in that way, you know, like HBO gets subscribers because of Game of Thrones.
Right.
That was what their thing was for like, if they just put that everywhere, then their ultimate goal of getting you locked into their ecosystem, into their service is not happening.
Right.
So, but I think like we have things now with Minecraft, that is multi-platform and has continued to be multi-platform after they bought them. I think it will also continue to be multi-platform. Probably their Elder Scrolls Online will continue to be multi-platform. Some people have talked Fallout 76. That needs to grow as they need people online, enough people to play. It makes
Mm-hmm.
sense for them to keep that everywhere it can be,
Yeah,
or
keep the
it's not
access.
valuable to the players, if there's not enough people playing.
Right.
But then something like everybody is talking about Starfield, I don't know, that could be your Game of Thrones. That could be your thing that draws in, sees you surge by hundreds of thousands or what, of subscribers.
Exactly.
Or millions of subscribers that jump in for that. So yeah, I don't think it's disingenuous to say case by case. I think it really will be.
I think it's honest. I mean,
yep.
You're not promising people everything because you can't. So
Right.
yeah, just be upfront about it.
Yep. A game like Minecraft, sure, the argument was already, it was on everything, so we wouldn't pull it. But Minecraft Dungeons is a new game, separate game from Minecraft in that same universe, and that came to everything as well. So, and they've helped put some games on the Switch that were exclusives for them as well. So I think they're gonna mix it up. Yeah, marketing teams making these calls, thinking about the right and wrongs. So, there was one other thing you'd mentioned that triggered something in my brain, but now I lost it. Supposedly tomorrow. Okay, okay. Alan's throwing in a curveball here. Alan brings Elden Ring. All right, so. Elden Ring, if you don't know, is by the creator of the Dark Souls series, and George R. R. Martin. Yeah, so From Software and George R. R. Martin. So people are pumped about this. A video of some gameplay leaked online, all messed up video of it the other day, and there all of a sudden started to be this rumor that they're going to show off Elden Ring at Xbox's March event. And then Xbox literally came out and said, okay, hold your horses. We're not doing any announcements like that.
Sure.
Right now, don't expect that. So setting those expectations, because hype was getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And some people it also lit up, probably Alan's saying Reddit exploded. The idea was being passed around. And this is fake news for you, and this is how it spreads. So it was being passed around that Microsoft was going to buy From Software, and that was going to happen. And Elden Ring was going to be an Xbox exclusive. This was based on one person on a podcast that was doing a way out there, some rumors I've heard, spitballing things that would be amazing, like what if this happens, kind of thing.
Sure.
Some people listen to that, probably out of context of the statement, and journalists everywhere reported on it. And it's just exploded. Crap. And the guy came out and said, "Look, this was not. I have no source here to give you. This is not. This is nothing that you should go, writing home about.
Right.
So
it's just like a fun theory or a fun what if or
exactly. What would happen if they did this? That would be cool. I've heard rumblings before, from some dude somewhere,
right.
Doesn't mean that it's so anyways. But that does bring me then to the last point on this for me is that tomorrow, supposedly Thursday, the 11th, is supposedly Microsoft's going to do some sort of video or something.
Okay.
Probably about the bit. So later, they announced already that later this week, because of the deal, they're going to be putting more Bethesda games into Game Pass.
Yeah.
So we'll get that for sure. I'm guessing we'll get a video that says what those games are. Maybe we get a little interview with Todd Howard and Phil Spencer or something, a little chat or something like that. Everybody's being kind of told to keep their expectations in check. We're not getting big reveals, but just a little addressing the union now. So.
Sure. I think that's smart. After all we've reviewed and talked about, different gaming events and setting expectations and not meeting them, I honestly just think it's great that they came out and were just like, listen, don't expect anything like this. Do not go here. Keep your expectations low. We don't want to set you up for like, all
Yep.
these big reveals and then have you be disappointed because I think that was a serious problem
Yeah.
for gaming announcements. And you know what? I'd rather like be going into the event. I'm still going to tune in because I still want to know what's being said. But I'd rather go into the event feeling like I'm going to be underwhelmed and then be surprised.
Yeah.
So that's just smart.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think you're really going to turn anybody off by saying like, keep your expectations low in this instance,
Yep.
especially for something like this that, got wildly out of hand, it feels like.
Yep. Yep. Every little thing now, someone says something, it's just like
Right.
largely conjecture, and then it just takes off. It was the
Blows
whole
up.
thing with,
Yeah.
yeah, like everybody's analyzing Phil Spencer's bookshelf behind him now in videos, trying to figure out what's going on there. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, all kinds of things. They had the Sonic rumors saying Microsoft was going to buy Sega.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that there's not any truth to any of this. Like, it
Right.
sounds like
Still
other people
could.
talked to Bethesda about purchases too.
Mm-hmm.
Bethesda needed to be bought. They were looking for a buyer, and so, but clearly Google didn't buy Bethesda. If they did talk to them, so it's whatever. So, yep. I don't think I have anything else to say about this, but I am excited for tomorrow's event. Even though I
Yeah.
say expectations in check, I like to hear
Mhm.
from Phil Spencer and Todd Howard. I do credit greatly the Xbox team for being open and seemingly pretty honest. So
Mhm. Yeah, making some good moves.
yep. You found this story that I
Mhm.
can't say I'm particularly thrilled about. You wanna break this down?
Sure. Sure. So I thought it was really fun, and of course, the second story really relates to um our talk upcoming about WandaVision, because of course WandaVision is generally believed to be directly leading into Doctor Strange, the second Doctor Strange film. So I don't think I'm spoiling anything there. But two sort of like very short news stories came out last week and this week about actor Bruce Campbell, um, who I think most people probably know from the Evil Dead series. That was not how I was actually introduced to Bruce Campbell, but it was about like Evil Dead was secondary for me,
Bubba
but it's
Hotep?
probably what?
Bubba Hotep?
Bubba Hotep. Yep.
Was that what was your exposure, your first exposure to Bruce Campbell?
It was a terrible, terrible TV show called Jack of All Trades.
Okay.
And he played like an American spy, I think
Oh,
in like the colony of Nassau, and he was spying on the
okay.
British who were occupying there, and the British and the French, and he was like a ladies' man, and he would run around in a disguise, and it was like this terrible like American British version of Zorro. You know what I mean? Like he literally was running
Okay.
around in a mask like Zorro,
Says the
like
Zorro-esque daring dragoon.
yeah, that I don't know what source Alan found, but yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all that that's how it's described. But yeah, it was like one of those like late night shows that came on, I think either right before or right after like Xena and Hercules, and I just somehow got sucked into it.
I want to
But
watch this.
it's
I want to
it's
watch this.
amazingly awful and wonderful at the same time. It's so great.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so
I want to watch this.
that's how I got my introduction to Bruce Campbell. And then of course like moved into like the Evil Dead series, which is absolutely classic. But they just announced that they are, starting to they set a film date for Evil Dead 4, even though Bruce Campbell's not going to be directly on screen and starring in it. He may still have a cameo, he hasn't said. But he is producing. So he's still
That's
involved in
what
the
I don't
Evil Dead
like.
franchise.
I
You don't
mean,
like
like
what
I don't
part?
like that he's not. I mean, it's Evil Dead 4 and he's not in it.
I
Like,
know.
I
It's
mean,
weird.
it's just not right. I mean, if you're gonna do it, uh, I mean, I could see it being a thing where he's in it with his daughter or something like that, and kind of
Right.
starting to pass the torch, sort of thing.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean
yeah,
there's a line because I feel like um there's a line where you sort of think like, yeah, I don't know how this is working anymore. Um and the clearest example I can think of is Indiana Jones 4, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. There were some moments where I was like, man, like Harrison Ford looks a little tired for this, and I know that they were trying to like, kind of ease him, into sharing like a partnership with Shia LaBeouf,
yeah.
which don't even get me started on the weird casting there. But like there's always a point where you want to see your favorite actors and you want to see them in the roles that like, made them famous and are so iconic, but you also don't want to see them like look tired while they're doing it, you know?
Well, I think the problem with Crystal Skull was that you had Harrison Ford and Steven Spielberg and crew getting back together, and it was an
Mhm.
exciting, fun reunion. And so they're having a blast doing it, but like not taking it serious enough
Mhm.
in the process, like
Yeah.
getting a little out of hand. And the problem they did there with the transition wasn't that they were working on a transition, it's how poorly they did it. Like
Yes.
Harrison Ford could have started to be more of a Sean Connery character. We could, it would have been a great story to see Indy becoming a lot like his father,
Right.
to see that that juxtaposition, and having now his son giving him the hard time like his father gave Indy.
Mhm.
That mirror, cyclical thing of life would have been cool, and it
Yeah.
would have
They just
put him in a more age appropriate kind of role.
Right. They
you
just
know
unfortunately did not do that.
no, they didn't do that.
So, I
So
mean, I get
yeah,
the like,
yeah.
yeah, I get the like, where's Ash gonna be in Evil Dead? But also like, I don't know. There's part of me that's like, it's okay, and part of me that's gonna be upset about it, I think.
Well, and that's the thing, they don't need more. I
Mhm.
mean, that's the ultimate truth of it. Like they had you have Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and
Mhm.
then you have the television show, Ash
Right.
versus Evil Dead. That's
Right.
that's Evil Dead 4 right there. And that went over well.
Yeah, it
People
did.
liked it,
That's true.
and went on for a number of years. Like, be lucky you got that, because then there's the kind of remake that's completely different cast, completely different
Yes.
kind of tone and everything. That's a different, it's like a reboot. So this is, I just think, just no, just say
Mhm.
no. We don't need that. You can go back and enjoy the other movies for the greatness that they are,
Mhm.
and you don't need to beat this until it's just dead. And
Sure.
and on a high note, be good,
Yeah.
be happy that you Evil Dead musical too, Alan says. I haven't seen that.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that either. Now I'm wondering if there's a big gap in my Evil Dead knowledge here, my Evil Dead
Yeah.
appreciation. A musical. I need to see that. Talking about things we need to see. Um
Yeah.
yeah, it's always hard, especially when a franchise like does like a it's a continuation but almost a reboot in the sense, obviously that they're announcing there's going to be a new female lead character. It's hard to know why then it needs to tie into that universe. If you're doing
Right.
so many things that are different, like why, and there's a new lead character and you're not going to have Bruce Campbell be in it.
Not same director.
Right, right. Although, like I said, he still hasn't like said for sure whether or not he might, appear, even if he doesn't star.
Yeah.
Um, it does become hard to find a reason why you need to set this in like the Evil Dead universe rather than
Right.
it just being like a different movie.
Yep.
So,
They did an example is is it From Hell or To Hell? Send Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell?
Drag Me to Hell.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi did this. It was in the vein, the style of Evil Dead with a different cast and everything. That's the appropriate route. That's what you take. That was a fun movie. I don't know that it did particularly well, but it's because that style of film is a niche thing to begin with. Evil Dead, it became a cult classic, you know, but it's still, that's niche, and people will go to it because of Bruce Campbell and because of the names attached. When that's not there anymore, it doesn't resonate with most modern audiences.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah, I think side note, I think Drag Me to Hell critically did well. I don't know that it was like a box office success.
Right.
But like you said, it's very niche. Like it's, you know, it's got a market. It's just not like the wide market.
92% on Rotten Tomatoes, 83 on Metacritic. Budget, Alan says here 30 million, box office 90.8 million. So
yeah, it did well for like what it was. It obviously more than recouped its budget and made a tidy profit for costing something low, but I don't think it was ever like popularly known.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
don't know what they consider for different stuff before, what they consider a success for actual margin made versus budget. But clearly that's a low budget film, which is true to the nature of these films and the Evil Dead movies and stuff. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I just yeah, I don't know. I'm not in favor. I'm not saying it will be bad. Just I would be the one to say nope, no green light.
Sure.
No green light.
Wouldn't get the go ahead from you.
Nope.
Well, would Bruce Campbell get the go ahead from you and the green light to appear in a role in Doctor Strange?
Yes, he would.
That is the other thing that he teased over the past
week. Immediately.
So, yeah, he
Strange, done deal.
Yeah, did a little bit of vague. It used to be. I wish like vague twittering had the same ring as vague booking, vague Facebooking, but it doesn't. But he did a bit of vague twittering as he tweeted a photo of London and said, you know, I'm in a certain city working on a certain movie with a certain director, with a certain actor that I can't talk about. And of course, everybody knows that Doctor Strange 2 is filming in London. So everybody, of course, immediately was like, oh my God, he's got a cameo. And of course, considering his relationship with Sam Raimi, the director, everybody was like, this is it. He's going to be appearing in Doctor Strange 2. And I've heard some pretty wild theories about who he could be, from, you know, kind of like a bit role like Stan Lee used to play, all the way up to like he's Mephisto. And I was like, oh boy,
oh my God,
that's a bold strategy there, Cotton. But with one, you know, hopefully this isn't one of those things that like takes off. Nobody listen to this and take off and report that I've said that he's going to be Mephisto. But it's yeah, the internet is wildly abuzz with speculation on who he could be and how he could be a part of this movie.
I would be happy just so if we're getting like, I can envision a moment where people are falling through or getting, you know, through different timelines and different realities and just popping in like quickly in and out. Oh yeah. I could see him like landing in the Army of Darkness world, and the army of skeletons are coming, and like Bruce Campbell's running or something, and then you're gone. You know, like
yeah, it could be as brief as, you know, a 5-second blip like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'd be happy with that. But
others have thrown out, you know, that if we're going to be doing some multiverse action, that, you know, he was the announcer in the first Spider-Man. He's the wrestling announcer who announces like Peter Parker as he watches. So there's like a you know, oh, we could be dropping in on like one of those kind of moments. He's got a cameo in another one too, and I'm not thinking of it right now, but you know what I'm saying. So like,
Yeah.
we could be
Hmm.
dropping in and he could be doing something as brief as that, or you know, could be a little bit something more. But
Yeah.
I also would give that a hearty thumbs up. So if he appeared in that movie.
Yeah. Well, oh, the maitre d' and okay. Okay. It's been a long time,
Yeah.
but that rings true. That sounds right. Yeah. Well, Alan brings up
Yes.
that Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is coming March 25th, 2022. And I was thinking that's a long time to wait to more information on Wanda Maximoff.
Yeah.
Though it looks like right now, surprisingly, Spider-Man No Way Home is slated for December of this year.
Yeah.
So we have to wait that length of time, 9 months or whatever it is, you know. So yeah. Anyways, Bruce Campbell in Doctor Strange. I'm a go for that. And
Yes.
the entire cast of WandaVision, I'd say I was a go for that too.
Indeed.
So time for spoilers. Spoilers for WandaVision. Um,
Excellent.
Episode 9, the finale. And I presume if you've not just watched episode 9, so it'll be spoilers for all of the season.
Boy, would that
Um,
not make any sense at all.
mhm.
Thinking of
And
everything that
potential,
happened.
yes. And no, it's a lot of like back homework, potential spoilers for the remainder of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
So that's my statement there. Episode 9 of WandaVision. What do you think?
Excellent. Way to wrap up a series and knock it out of the park. I mean, truly, there were two things that I wish, um, maybe were different. But on the whole, I think wrapping up Wanda's storyline, wrapping up Vision's, um, just absolutely excellent, excellent writing, excellent storytelling,
Yep.
and nothing felt too sudden, as they wrapped up quite a bit, but left, a few things open. Nothing felt too sudden, nothing felt out of left field, nothing felt very jarring. Um, it was just really, really clever storytelling. So hats off to this writing team, because I know that early on in the season we were just not sure about where this was going, and absolutely crushed it.
Yes. It's definitely a series where, to me, viewing one is the viewing.
Mhm.
Like if I was going to rewatch anything, it'd be just maybe the last couple or something to
Yeah.
maybe absorb some more details. But it really is about their drawn out pace of, finding out what's going on. And I
Mhm.
do think they strike a good balance between finding out what's going on and raising enough questions and letting us wonder for the future. So I didn't take many notes because
Mhm.
I was just in it,
Sure.
um, wasn't gonna take out my phone to do it because it was I was pretty emotionally engrossed.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I
and
thought
yeah.
I thought both Olsen and Bettany just absolutely nailed this last episode.
Mhm.
The range of emotions that Wanda, um and both visions, as we learn, both visions go through in these episodes. I really think they gave absolutely terrific performances.
So maybe we want to start there with Vision. Like,
Sure.
um, what's do you how do you feel that wins the encounter the
Yeah.
between the two of them, and what lies ahead for Vision?
Yeah, so I love that of course we had this double vision battle where our Westview version of Vision boy, I'm not going to try and
Yeah.
say that too many times.
Yeah.
Um but our Westview Vision takes on this white vision um and oh no. I'm
Is, he,
sorry.
is Chris trying to post links here or pornographic imagery?
Yeah, what
I would
material are you
guess it's
trying
a
to send
link.
us, honey?
I would guess it's a link. Would be my.
Man,
Alan's laughing at you.
can't say heck or hell apparently.
Oh, apparently he's trying to use some strong language.
Trying to swear. Okay, all right.
Yes, apparently heck though is banned, so he's not quite sure what that's about.
That's a very strict bot. Wow.
Yeah, it's quite the strict bot. If you can't even go with heck. Um, so yeah, so I loved the battle between Westview and White Vision. And I thought like it started out obviously being like this physical battle, but I love that it turned into the philosophical because Vision has never been like a really like physical character. Even when he's fighting, he almost seems like, "Oh, I'm only doing what's necessary here to stop you."
Right.
And, I'm not like really into this. He's not really like thinking about how to win the battle. He's just sort of like, what's the minimum I can put into this physical exertion to just defeat my opponent? And then I'd like to stop it now because that's not what I'm about.
Yep.
So I think turning it into this philosophical battle between the two was very like true to the character and true to like his emotional essence. Um and was just it kind of ended up being more satisfying than like an all-out slugfest would be. Whereas
It
that
had
felt
those
more.
moments too.
Yeah, they definitely did. Because of course like the white vision is just like, hey, mission objective, got to destroy you. So, you can't just like jump right into like, wait a minute, why don't we just talk about this?
Okay.
But I think ultimately wrapping it up in this like, let's have a discussion and let me change your mind kind of worked for me. Um yeah, and it ended up being like a cool contrast to the kind of slugfest that was Wanda and Agatha's battle. So I think if they would
Yep.
have had like two of those, it just would have been like too much. But yeah, I thought the visions fighting against each other worked really well. And then of course, we're left with White Vision, accepting the memories and experiences of Westview Vision, TBD on the actual emotional level that he can feel connected to those memories. But he's got, as he says, he's got the data now.
Yep.
And then just like flies off. So
Yeah. So Chris asks, when his very now family friendly and appropriate wording, where is the vision?
yeah,
And that's
that's
that's the question. It's interesting that he does absorb the memories and then is just out of there.
mhm,
But I guess that comes from the idea that his new prime directive was to destroy the vision.
mhm,
And now he understands that he is the vision.
right. In some form or
So that's
capacity.
like, yeah, so that's such a, you know, ones and zeros not lining up, I guess. It's got to be a crisis of self there
Yeah,
or something. So yeah, because at first you think, well, why isn't he gonna then, would he help or something? He stick
right.
around and but yeah, I suppose he's just confused. It's not making sense. He's got a logical, he's all about logic there. But
Right.
it's probably, I don't know. I was half expecting that that Westview Vision would convince him that he is the real Vision, and then he
Destroy
would off
himself.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that too, and then I liked that my expectations were subverted that way because I thought that's the way it was going. Um, and then now there's like a door open for some version of Vision to come back.
Yep.
And I had also had the thought at the end, we kept getting like these after show, like little, extras.
Yep.
First with Monica and then with Wanda. And I was thinking, like, why is Wanda, hiding away in the mountains and drinking her coffee and studying this book? Why isn't she out trying to find White Vision? And then I realized, like, she doesn't know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, she just sort of like trusts her version of Vision to take care of the other Vision. And she never really asks him or gets the chance to be like, so what happened? Westview Vision just comes back and she just assumes like that's that. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would forget to ask, in the
yeah.
moment
Well,
there.
in the midst of, everything else she's dealing with in the moment.
Yep.
So,
No, I think it's kind of the best of both worlds. Like she completed her arc in this way and having to say goodbye and did so in a very emotional, meaningful way. We get to see that, she is, it's the Mind Stone that's responsible here, the part of the Mind Stone that's in her. And we get to potentially not lose a superhero in Paul Bettany's Vision, where can be back, but in a different form, and maybe a colder, more calculated form that they don't have that kind of relationship. But then obviously that's a complicated thing for her to see him and to hear him, but it's not him,
Right.
And I love the ship. I forget the name of it, but I always love that. Yeah, I always love that discussion or line of thought because, I don't know where I don't know where I lie on that. I don't know how I come down on it. So
yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah, and we sort of get like an interesting, potential preview of Wanda interacting with White Vision, quite just like a little bit before she realizes, White Vision isn't her vision. So we kind of get a little sneak preview if they do bring them back together in some form in another film, in another show, however they do it. We already get to see how difficult that's going to be for her in those brief moments. So that was a great little teaser, even though like the second he was in there, I felt like, I was watching a horror movie. I was like, girl, get out of there.
Yep.
Like he's not coming for fun.
It's like like you're approaching a zombie that was your mother.
Yes.
It's not your mom anymore.
Right. You in danger, girl. Like, yeah.
Danger Girl. There's a comic strip for you.
Yeah.
So let me jump to the greatest thing of the episode, I think.
Okay.
The final look of Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. Excellent.
That outfit and the way they did the crown, the mask is perfect. That is just really well done.
Yes.
Great translation to the film version. Adding a bit of style and flair, adding the, in the comic, they it's just skin tight kind of thing. Where in movies they get the chance to add texture, different materials and stuff. Right. And they just really knocked it out of the park in
I agree.
Designing Scarlet Witch's costume.
I agree. And I haven't heard anything about this from Elizabeth Olsen, but I know that she was quite unhappy with the way that Scarlet Witch evolved costume-wise in the Avengers movies. She was like, everybody else gets these like really cool suits. They seem practical, but also like suited for their character. They have, different character to them. And I'm just like running around in this like skin tight leather corset. And I'm just not like, it doesn't feel like my character. It doesn't feel like, anybody gave really any thought to what Wanda was wearing. So I feel like this time they did. And, I don't know if anybody's asked her about it or if there's an interview out there that I might be missing, but I have to imagine that she's at least happier with this.
Yeah. No, I to my understanding, the word on the street was that she had felt underappreciated,
Mhm.
underutilized, and I think that this is the beginning of really just the beginning of seeing awesome stuff from her.
I
And I
agree.
think that they gave her just a perfect costume. And thinking
Yes.
about it, like standing next to Doctor Strange or something, those two would fit well. Like if those two are locked in
Yes.
combat at some point or working together or whatever, it's just gonna look good. It's
Yes.
gonna look good.
I agree.
So, um, so yeah, Scarlet Witch. How do you like how things wrapped up for her? The
Mhm.
path she went through in this,
Mhm.
her conflict with Agatha,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I really loved her journey in this last episode. It was a lot, but I didn't feel it was too rushed. I felt like this is what we'd been building to. Um, you know, I felt that her confrontation with the townspeople and, Agatha pointing out to her how much damage she's done needed to happen. And
Yep.
it really went well. I mean, she didn't just be like, "Oh no, like what have I done?" She didn't, run away from it. Her acting when she was confronted with all of the townspeople was absolutely phenomenal. You know, it took her like directly harming them in the moment as a result of her emotional
Yeah.
turmoil to realize how she'd been really doing that all along in a more drawn out way that she couldn't really see firsthand. And then she, like I said, like physically harmed the townspeople, and it was like, oh my God. I just had this realization. Um, so yeah, so it was a great moment for her, a great character growth moment. Um, it was believable that she would try to like get these people out of there, but then also still try to save Vision and her boys, when they're threatened by the fabric of Westview tearing apart and the hex not holding them in and
Yep.
holding them to their bodies anymore, that she wasn't quite ready yet to let go of that either. So I just thought it was like a really great complex journey that she had to go through.
I I missed your low-key Whoopi ghost reference.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what
You in
what
danger,
Chris is
girl.
alluding to. Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. Whoopi Goldberg. Molly,
Cool.
you in danger, girl.
That's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Well, we just watched an episode of Fresh Off the Boat where they travel back um to their home, and everybody there is like obsessed with the movie Ghost. So it's like a whole big thing. It's like really hilarious. But yeah, so that's been like on my mind.
It's funny.
So
So when do you think in my mind I see that at some point Wanda must have gotten her own runes up in the hex in her own border
yes,
and then
risky.
feigned her powers being drained. Like I'm sure at first she was
Yeah.
being powers are being absorbed, but then at some point he's like, see all these hexes and then I'm just fine. Like when did you read it the same way? And if so, what was that point in time
Yeah,
where that switch
so
happened?
so I thought it was, really happening throughout that battle. I mean, she really I kept wondering why like Wanda's shots were really wild. And then
Mm.
when the clouds like kind of came out and revealed the ruins all around the hex, I was like, that's why you were going so crazy. Because there were some moments where she just like was like hurling her power at Agatha,
Mm,
and it was going wide, it was going over here, they were switching around, and it just seemed really weird why she felt she needed to throw her power at Agatha, like, take it.
mm,
And then I realized, she would hit Agatha enough that she would be absorbing, some of her power. and so she would be distracting her from what Wanda was really trying to accomplish.
Hmm.
So I thought that was like insanely clever, the way
Yep.
that she did that. And I'm not sure how it exactly worked, because I even though she did that, I wasn't really sure that, she could just like recover it all back and it would work exactly that way. That was maybe a little bit of a stretch, but we also don't know a whole lot. We did just get introduced in the last 2 episodes to the idea of chaos magic,
Right.
what it is and what it does. So I
Yep.
guess it's sort of ill-defined enough where, sure, I bought this.
Yep. And as you'd pointed out, and I freaked out in this moment, or I thought it was a great one where she name drops the Sorcerer Supreme. So
Yes.
that was fun, you know.
Yes. That was fun.
But good battle. I have to say that I think that I understand what they're going for in making Agatha a bit witchier, but the extra, like, giving her the extra defined brow and stuff or whatever, cheekbones didn't look
Interesting.
well for
Yeah.
her. I mean, it
Interesting.
was definitely a downgrade. But I mean, again, I get what they're going for, I suppose. More severe and witchy.
Yes. Yeah, more menacing. Cuz
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to see Agnes, the, pun-loving, harmless next door neighbor just dressed up in a, in a costume. You do want to be like, "Oh, we're fighting a real villain here." So I get it, but also, yes, I agree. It wasn't the best designed look. If the costume and makeup department was really going for it, they nailed it with Scarlet Witch and maybe missed the mark a little bit on Agatha.
I nonetheless liked her performance still.
Yeah,
I was kind
absolutely.
of hoping that, because she is a complex character, or a gray one anyhow, where she is saying, like, I go around and take powers from those undeserving, Well, one, of course, is, well, who's to say who's deserving?
Right.
And but two, I mean, she was, as you say, the one to fairly point out the way she's treated the town and what she's done, and how she's really the cruel one here. And
Not wrong.
Right, she's not wrong. And at the same time, I'm sure she also is just kind of power hungry. It's just like, I'm ready to take this power.
It's convenient for her to say that.
Yeah. Do you like how things ended with her? I don't know that I don't know if I think it's fair that she's like trapped again. Like, that is quite cruel. We don't really know what Agatha has done, really.
Sure.
To, like, that's really wrong. Like, as far as we know, she hasn't killed anyone, right? She held her kids hostage, which weren't really real. It's part of her creation. So
yeah, I mean, Wanda's really sort of executing a judgment based on the fact that, I mean, we do know that she's killed because she killed her own coven. However, that was also years ago. We don't know the exact context of,
they were going to kill her.
Right, exactly. And really, it's so hard to tell because, on the one hand, the coven clearly believed that they were, taking down somebody who is evil, but again, we don't have any information to base that judgment off of. We have no context other than they like dragged her to, in the middle of the night, tied her up to this pole and said, like, "Listen, you've been doing some evil things." And we're just supposed to, like, sort of go with, yeah, okay, their judgment's sound. So yeah, so there's always a tricky line between, like, were they really, trying to get rid of somebody who they thought was evil, or is she, misunderstood? Are they not quite understanding her? Is she, really good at heart and is just defending herself? Yeah. That's where all those complexities come in. And I wasn't exactly satisfied with the way that her story ended either. Although I liked that Wanda's sort of keeping her in her back pocket for later. You
Yeah.
know, there's a way to like neutralize her as a threat
Yes. Because
because
otherwise it's
obviously,
complicated.
yeah, because I mean, what is she going to do with her? Is she going to hand her over to somebody? You know, is she going to escape
Right.
from whatever prison? You know, maybe Sword might try to hold her in, do more damage. Yeah.
Yep. Seems fitting because you already have one Vision getting away. To have another person get away just doesn't seem, you know,
Right.
and
Be a bit
Scarlet
much.
Witch herself gets away, so it's just everybody just flees and escapes, you know. So
Right.
yeah, I like it. What? Okay, so how about Monica Rambeau and Quicksilver? Some of the extra characters
Yeah.
at this point. Any major thoughts on any of them yet?
So here's where I was really disappointed. And somebody did rightly point out that, you know, it's kind of only our own faults for assuming that, you know, Evan Peters as
No,
Quicksilver, as Pietro, you know,
they
was
do
going to
not
tie
rightly
it.
point that out.
Well, somebody on their own, you know, obviously
Yeah,
like
yeah,
show blog. I can't remember what exactly it was I was reading. But you know, getting our hopes up about this. And I
yep,
was like, it's true in the sense of nobody promised us that just because Evan Peters was cast and appearing on the show meant that, you know, an X-Men Marvel crossover was happening. But it's not exactly true that, you know, we wouldn't leap to that assumption because it's so obvious. It's not even that subtle. It's
right.
quite a, you know, quite a large connection. Um so that was the only part that disappointed me, that, you know, we really seemed to wrap up the series and this was just all some weird, you know, he's John Boner, this lookalike
Hmm.
dude who has a
Yep,
funny name and a
yep.
weird resemblance to Quicksilver
Ralph
or
Boner.
Ralph Boner. I'm thinking of John
Just
Boehner
my name
for
and
some
Boner.
reason.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know if there's any comic book relevance there or not. Um, but yeah, that was strange. I agree. Also disappointed by that, and I don't think it's our fault because you know, they're that's so intentional. You know, it could
Right.
be. We
They
discussed this
know.
before. It could have been anyone. It could have been anyone if it was just going to be someone from the town that she commandeered to play this role.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
but
So,
it was fun to see him in that role again.
it was.
You
And
know,
he's great.
yes. But it just means it's be extra confusing if they ever were to bring him back again. So to me, this
Right.
is kind of putting the stamp on he's done. You
Right.
know, like
Is
this was our little nod to this character and how well he was done. Sorry, we don't have a place for you.
right. Which is
Otherwise,
almost more disappointing than if they
yes,
just put somebody else in there.
yes, or just bring back Aaron Johnson.
No,
Like
I still don't
what's the
understand why.
deal? Like
He
that did that add anything? I mean, because I mean, I guess other than if she's just taking a person from the town to play this role, but I mean, wouldn't the assumption be that she could make Wanda see him the way she wants? Or
right,
maybe she doesn't
exactly,
know what her brother looks like. So then she wouldn't be able to do that. I don't know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was a great bit of, like, stunt casting for a while, and then it's like that's the thing they couldn't figure out how to wrap up well. You know, how to explain it, you know, that Agatha did this, and have it make sense that, you know, for us, we know who he is. For Wanda, she does but doesn't. And then, you know, like you said, now they don't have a place for him, so we have to just like make up something very random.
Yep.
So
I love too that
disappointing.
this show's generated a meme moment back to Agatha again quickly because people kind of jumped on how great of a job she's done in this role.
Absolutely. As they should.
And yeah, and so her like winking kind of thing
Yes.
is just a gif everywhere.
Catherine Hahn, yes, is just a
very
treasure
good,
in this.
very good.
Yeah.
So yeah, some great performances there. Monica Rambeau, I feel like I'm glad she was in here, but it definitely is like the start. Like
Yes.
she was very auxiliary, you know. I feel like sometimes they leave a little, like maybe they had trouble trying to get screen time for
Sure.
some of the different characters a bit. But yeah, I was hoping to see her do more, but I
agree.
also at the same time understand that this was very crunched. There's a
Right.
lot happening. And
Yeah,
so
it's ultimately not her show. So
right.
yeah. So you got to get her in there without having her you know, take away anything from your leads. You know, she can
Yep.
be a scene stealer, she can be, you know, like this great, like you said, auxiliary character, but you know, obviously you don't want to get too far down her path and
Yep.
get away from Wanda and Vision. So
Yep.
yeah.
And we'll see more of her in Captain Marvel too, I'm sure. That's the goal there. So
So who did you think the he was at the end of her little extra? Yeah, in the mid-roll credits. And she's got the oh, he heard you were grounded and wanted to send you a little present. Who do you think that he is?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So oh yes. Okay, so I remember in the moment now. Yeah, I don't know. So in fairness, I haven't seen Captain Marvel. So yeah, so I know that, I mean, I get that the Skrull are involved there and stuff. But yeah, if there's any clues there, I don't know.
Okay.
And I know there's stuff with another movie too, I guess. But yeah. Alan's saying Nick Fury. I saw that you say that in chat too, Nick Fury. What makes you think Reed Richards?
There's been some
Anything?
very low-key rumors about Fantastic Four. Like,
yeah,
you know,
like where they got the some equipment, right, and stuff.
Yep. So there was, and there was like a very blippy, oblique reference earlier to her astrophysicist friend. So you know, I had that as like a very short thought in my mind, and then somebody else, you know, it's on the internet, so of course it must be true. But
Yeah.
somebody else wrote that as well. So I was just wondering, like, which it was so vague. It just seemed like it could have been any direction, but could have been like the very, 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 you know, tiniest hint about Fantastic Four.
Yep. I mean, I'm all game for that. I mean, ultimately, I want to see mutants and X-Men. And the sad thing is, Scarlet Witch is an X-Men. She's a mutant. So I'm hoping they still do that.
Yeah, they left
her as a
her
means to. Yeah, I mean, so the idea that she interacted with the Mind Stone and like took part of it or something and didn't die, and you know what happened with her, that would be because she's a mutant. Whatever her latent abilities are, they're allowed her versus other people to live through that. So it's still there as a possibility.
Yeah, Agatha comments about, you know, how it just enhanced what she already had. So there's definitely a hint there.
I'm really hopeful for that, but I also understand that that's a complicated thing to get into, and that there's a history of X-Men on film that people are aware of that will take a bit of time for people to forget, you know, if they want to forget. Fantastic Four, no one cares. No one's seen that.
Everybody's ready to forget that.
Yeah, right. So they can move on, and they can move on quickly. So it would be nice to see them introduce Fantastic Four sooner than later. But at the same time, it's kind of a shame to be going through some of this literally House of M inspired stuff and without the mutant involvement,
Right.
like there's such critical parts to these storylines and these cinematic things, they're like story arcs that they're going through and they're pushing into, like
Hmm.
the mutants play a role. And you know, I'm sure they're thinking, okay, I'm sure they have a plan. Marvel, I am confident, has a plan. So I'm sure they have it plotted out. But as a fan, yes, it's a little sad to see
Hmm.
the mutants get passed over when they could be involved. So
Right. Exactly.
'cause I'll have to, I'd be honest, like that in I've never really cared about the Avengers or most of these characters. And it's a credit to the how well Kevin Feige and those he's brought in have done, is to make me care about watching these films,
Hmm.
with most of the characters my not really caring about, you know.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch being one of them that I care about, and Spider-Man, you know, everybody else, like, I don't care. I just don't
Yeah.
care. So they've done well, you know?
Yeah. I mean, they've really taken these characters to, such a mainstream level that it's almost
Yep.
unreal, how on par some of these characters are with like ultimate when you think of like classic superheroes, like obviously Batman and Superman, characters that should be in everybody's, lexicon. You
Yep.
understand who they are even if you don't, consume any of their media.
Yep.
And it's amazing how, how easily you can talk to somebody and just mention like, Thor and Captain America and Iron Man and Scarlet Witch and, you know,
Yep.
everybody at least has like a contextual reference. So,
Yep. I think that it's just, people always go back and forth on the how true do you stay to source and different things. And I think that the answer is it comes kind of natural when you actually care about the thing. And I think that thus far, they've done a pretty good job of hiring people to be in charge of these films and shows that care enough
mhm,
that it happens. A lot changes, a lot's different here than in the comics. But if
mhm,
it feels right, if it feels like it cares about what it's coming from, then it's not such a big issue.
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
and I hope they're able to continue that trend, and I hope they can continue that into Falcon and Winter Soldier in
Mm,
like 2 weeks
yeah.
or a week,
Coming up soon.
a week and a half. It's not this Friday; it's the next one, I think.
Okay. All right. I
So,
wasn't sure if they had officially dropped that date. The last one I saw just said, premiering shortly. So,
yep, I think it's I think we get 1 week break here with
okay.
a Marvel show, and then we're back at it. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
Yeah, can't wait to see how they move into that next, show. I think they've set the bar high with WandaVision.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
not worried about it, but, oh, March 19th. Yep. So yeah, little week and a half here.
they're gonna have to work to make us care because we just got involved and invested in this story, and from what I can imagine, this is going to be a different element, a different side, a different part of what's happening in the MCU.
Mhm.
And so it will be a like, okay, we're done with this for now. Put that on hold. Now let's work to get you into this other part. And so it'll be a transition for sure. So it's in a new start. And because I'm kind of sad to see, I want to know what happens next. I
I
want
know,
to see what
I know.
happens here with the Scarlet Witch. So
Yeah, but I mean, it is very classic Marvel.
yeah,
They're just now doing with TV shows what they did with movies because, they would make us care about, a character in a movie and then, have their little introduction at the end and then you're jumping from, Iron Man to Captain America to Thor before you get back to Iron Man again. So
right.
it does in a sense it's disappointing, and you're absolutely right. Like I'm still in this world, and I would love for Doctor Strange to just come out so I can keep being here. But on the other hand, it's a very classic Marvel to now, bring us over to Falcon and Winter Soldier and see what's going on over there.
I wonder if they're keeping it steady. I mean, so we just wrapped Scarlet Witch, then we go to Falcon and Winter Soldier. Then I presume about when that's done, we're going to be getting Black Widow finally.
Yes.
In theater. Yeah. And then I would think Loki's coming quickly.
Yeah,
I am very excited for.
Mm-hmm. They've been teasing Loki. I don't know, depending on when we finally do get Black Widow. The last thing I saw for Loki was summer, but summer is such a vague word. It could be like, May 31st or, June 1st, or it could be August. I have no idea.
Yeah. Well, that's still pretty good. Like if it's, they're giving us a pretty good fill of content then.
Yeah.
So right now it's saying release date is June 11th.
Oh.
Okay, Alan's saying
May. See?
I'm seeing on IMDb June.
So yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so if we have,
part of the confusion of, they're saying summer, perhaps they're not quite settled either.
Yep.
Or haven't communicated with everybody, to settle that.
But I mean, that's a good lineup. So then we have Black Widow, then we have Loki, then we're before long be getting Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot when Alan said Doctor Strange was coming.
March 25th.
Okay. So, I mean, we're getting back on track.
Yeah, we're getting back on a regular schedule. It feels perhaps a little crammed right now. So that, if they're releasing this, I mean, I'm glad they're releasing this content, but this seems an unsustainable pace. When you think about the way that the Marvel movies were released before, this might be a little accelerated right now just because they do have a backstop of content.
Backlog. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't expect this to go on exactly like this, but something like it in the future.
But they can keep, movies, it's a one and done thing that requires so much time. Television shows, can be done quicker.
True.
You can get turnaround faster, that you can pace things. You have a lot more lenience with pacing than you do with a film.
True. Although then the question becomes, do you want a TV show? I feel like we're both very happy with the way that this singular season of WandaVision went. Do we want another TV show? Do we want, a season 2? I mean, if the content was this good, my answer wouldn't be, no. But, it's still a question mark for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Disney's still upset with the idea that, they're just not seeing the same dollars come in.
Well, they
not having stuff in the theaters,
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I want to see when they release Black Widow, what do we get? Like Raya, whatever it is, and the Dragon came out recently. I think that's not performing to their liking or whatever. But those just aren't the known properties like this. There is a magic Marvel sauce that enough people have been hooked into this world and want to see each of the new things.
Yes.
And it's just, I don't know. They had to be happy with their subscriber numbers. They just had a investor call or whatever, and numbers are looking really good for them for the subscription service. So
yeah. I think they've got to exercise a little patience here. I mean, they've far outperformed what anyone thought. They have gotten steady rise in numbers. They've had also periods of, kind of explosive numbers. So really, they've just got to wait and see.
Yep. that theater. I mean, they're gonna have to see that, the lock in, that people get with the streaming service. I mean, that's consistent dollars.
Hmm.
I know they're the like outlier in the film space that just raking in millions every time they launch something.
Right.
But those are never a guarantee.
Yeah.
You're no one's beholden to a movie going contract
Hmm.
versus their monthly subscription fee for Disney Plus that they forget about, or that
Right.
there's the one show that they have to like see or whatever,
Right. Yeah.
So,
You have to sort of think like you're getting the same returns on movies that might underperform as movies that would overperform. You know,
mhm.
um, like I'm thinking of, I'm trying to think of a weaker Marvel movie, and I'm coming up with Thor: Dark World. Well, if you've got a couple people who are going to see that and they're like, "Ooh, it's terrible," your reviews can really sink a box office performance. Whereas, if one of these ventures that they're releasing on their streaming service is going to underperform, people probably aren't going to cancel the
They're
streaming
just gonna
service.
watch it anyways.
They're
Yeah.
just gonna, yeah, exactly. They're gonna watch it anyway. They're still gonna pay you their monthly subscription fee. They're
Mhm.
most likely not gonna cancel because they're just gonna be like, the next thing will be good. We'll catch the next
But
thing.
their Premiere Plus or whatever it is, I think that's what they're struggling with.
Sure.
Hey, here's a new big movie, and we want you to pay extra on top of your subscription. I think they're having problems with that. I don't think they'll have a problem with that with a known quantity like Black Widow or something.
I agree.
But with something new, yeah, they probably shouldn't be doing that.
Mm.
HBO Max isn't going to do that with
Right.
whatever comes out. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm. Well, exciting stuff from
Yes.
Marvel. I am happy with how this season went. Is a
Me too.
little slow to get going for me, but they ultimately paced it well, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I
Yeah.
think it led to an emotional roller coaster of a ride in its finale. And I thought it was really cool seeing the Scarlet Witch sitting there reading over her Necronomicon. And,
Yeah, it was very it was hinting at Doctor Strange without outright having a cameo from
yeah,
Benedict Cumberbatch. You know, like very, very exactly the way that Stephen Strange studies and is able to, absorb um,
yeah,
the texts that he's going through every night. It was a great, like, very subtle nod to here's where we're going.
yep,
So
yep, yep. Astral projection. That's right. And Magneto, or not Magneto, and Professor Xavier should have been aware. Should have picked her up. Oh,
that's right.
oh, she's there, coming. She's gonna join the academy. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
I mean, we have next week will be right before the premiere of another one, so
Mhm.
um, we'll have time to watch that and let it sink in before we give it to you. And um, what else? I don't know. We'll have to figure out what we're going to cover on the next episode, I suppose.
Indeed,
Be a,
indeed.
be a chill episode,
Yeah.
or I gotta watch Spider-Man finally or something.
Or you got to watch Captain Marvel so you can
Yeah.
get caught up on my theories here.
Yep. Right.
But
Yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning in
mhm.
to Popcast on the Rocks. You should check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, our website, all those places. You should also, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. If you enjoy our ramblings, someone else might enjoy our ramblings, and you could share that with those people that may enjoy our ramblings, and then talk together about our ramblings, and then share your comments about our ramblings in our comment sections, and start a dialogue with that.
Ramblings.
So, yeah.
I just felt like I should say it too.
Okay. Also, we probably get more viewers in direct podcast format. So if you're into that, just listening or whatever, that's fine as well. Go ahead to your favorite podcast directory. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Anchor and a number of others. So give us a review there. Thumbs it up, whatever, that kind of thing. Subscribe. We thank you to the band Killing the Flower for a theme song. They are available to be found on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. So check them out. I've been streaming with my brother-in-law, Lucas333. That's Lucas with a K here on Twitch. It's his spring break, so it's a little different of a schedule. Recently, we just streamed before this podcast, so you can go ahead and check that out. One of his followers, Kyoko, followed us here on Twitch, so thank you for that. Thanks again to Mike for jumping in and Chris for jumping in and for a couple comments there. Lucas333 will be streaming again on Friday, I believe. It'll be more in the morning, so more like 7 a.m., I believe, Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern. So check that out. I should be able to make that. And otherwise, you can expect us back here next week, barring unexpected child birthing.
Yes, I was just about to say that. You never know. I'll try not to do any more like too strenuous cement work, go into labor early.
Well, I have to say, in a week where we don't have Falcon Winter Soldier.
Oh, so that this might be good.
Yeah. So
all right, well,
I'm
gonna go run 5 miles outside. See if I can jumpstart it.
Next week, you get that baby out, and and then you'll have time to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier as you're lulling him to sleep. And yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if I can time this out.
Then we can have our first podcast baby.
That's right. We'll see if I've got a cooperative kid here.
How many life events can we go through and have happen during the course of our making this podcast,
That's right. That's right.
We missed some big ones already, namely like marriage and moving and whatever, that kind of thing. But
I could jumpstart it right here.
Yep. That's right. So
Chris is in the background saying no.
Well, you have the baby, I'll get a boob job, something radical.
I love it.
All kinds of big changes.
We'll just come back the week after, totally different people.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, all right. Thanks everyone for joining. Sometime we should do another episode. We'll have some guests. Maybe Chris wants to jump in and we'll talk some more Marvel or something like that. Kind
Excellent.
Of see what everybody thinks about the state of the MCU and whatever. So yeah.
Sounds
but until next week, thanks for tuning in.
Cheers, everybody.